Ladies and gentlemen, the following is another great episode of the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. In one corner, we have the greatest thing on God's green earth. No, we're not talking about money, Mary Jane, or Popeye spinach. He is the tranquil dart of Ringside Society and Delaware's greatest American hero. It takes two to make a thing go right. He's Rob Bass, and you are not. And the second corner, we have that ocean crossing, straight up Boston, flight catching, shot glass snatching. Where's he going next? Nobody knows. Four continents down, two more to go. No cap, straight facts. Worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. But it's not about us. You see, we have a special guest tonight. This man is making a name for himself in the great section of Delmarva. That's right, that's Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. He trained at the 1CW, the famed 1CW dojo, and he is your Delmarva Sports Network champion. And it's now no longer not just any era. It's not an era. No, it's an age. And actually, it's the age in favor. Everybody, welcome to the show, Jacob Favor. How you doing today, sir?
I'm alive and well. God set me here to, piss the world off, and that's what I'm here to do.
There you go. There you go. Dr. Dre. That just goes to show you're probably even more powerful than Eminem because Dr. Dre sent him, but God sent you. So
That's
I don't.
right.
So that's even worse. We could tolerate Eminem, but Jake Favor, I don't know if they're ready for you, man. I
They're
don't
they're
know.
they're definitely not.
So I got to say, when Rob said, Remy, Jake Favor, he wants to be on the show, we can get him on. I was like, wait a minute, the DSN champion? Yeah, let's make it happen like a captain. Let's get the champion of the Delmarva area in the United States on here to hear about his journey, hear about his story. And I gotta ask you, man, before we go any further, let's take a time traveling trip back in the past. Let's hop in the DeLorean. Let's hop in the telephone booth with a young Keanu Reeves and a young Alex Winter, or even the little blue box that they have on Doctor Who. And let's ask, man, how did your journey start? How did your journey start in regards to pro wrestling? How did you become a fan of the sport? What was the match or the event that made you go, okay, wow, I'm a fan from now on?
It's so funny. I just talked about this with my older brother. My brother is 9 years older than me, so he was more into developing into a child as I was a baby, and he was getting to experience that stuff. And along the way, I think I was probably like 5 or 6 years old. I was growing into a guy, a boy who wanted to play with different things instead of blocks and building stuff. And my brother had these wrestlers. He had this old WWF um, ramp with all these pictures of all these people on a Stone Cold Mankind, up and down the list, and you could just press a button and it would randomize who would come out, and there, or you could press it to whoever was supposed to come out, man. And it just felt, it was one of those engaging moments. And I think that's one thing about wrestling is that it does with everybody, that not just gets like your sports, here and there. They might get you feeling a certain type of way, but wrestling really engages with you. Really, you really got to be engaged for it to work. And I think that that's really what did it for me, was like seeing these larger than life dudes, even when they're small and in my hands, coming down this little ramp to beat each other up based on what I'm doing, based on the decisions I'm making as a kid. And that puts you in like a whole nother world.
It's okay, man. It happens, trust me. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So your brother, did your brother ever get into wrestling like you, or is he like just, did he just decide to stay a fan?
So my brother being older, he was never. I probably would have done the same thing in his position. Hold on, what can we say? Here, you want to come sit in? Say hi. I'm on a podcast. This is a little favor.
Hello.
Say hi. What you need? You need something? What you need?
Do you have lemon?
Yeah. Can you just get a Capri Sun for me?
Lemon?
All right, give me 5 minutes.
Hey,
You
I'll
can
tell
take
you
this
what.
one.
But I don't know what a lemonade.
It's that big jug right down there at the bottom with the milk.
In 10 years, if y'all become a tag team, we call dibs on the first interview.
All right,
I'm
I
just
think he's
saying.
down. He'll be down. Yeah, he's. Yep, you got it. Uh, yeah. All right. So back. What was the question? It was my brother. If he didn't. So he was in the. I think in that time period where this was never a possibility. You know what I mean? Like even me growing up, I never saw wrestling as that thing that I was going to be able to obtain. And I think that's what the best dreams usually set out for. You know, those types of ideas are what you should shoot for, because believing in the impossible is what makes it possible. Um, Bring me cup then. So yeah, I think for him it was one of those situations where it was, everything was still too larger than life. There was never really any doors able to be opened for him, or maybe he just never saw it as a possibility.
Right.
And I do think he probably would have gave it a shot had he known that he was good enough to do it, or had some sort of way to get there. And I don't know if it was ever truly a passion of his like it is of mine, but to this day, like I can still see it gives him the same sort of like feelings it does for me. And I'm sure it helps him out now that I'm doing it. It gives him even more of a passion for it. But it's just one of those things that, like, we're always connected on. You know what I mean? Like, we could have our good days and our bad days, but if it was about wrestling, man, we were on the same page.
Well, I'll tell you what. It seems like your brother may still be a fan. We also have a segment of Ringside Society called 15 Minutes of Fandom. If Brother Favor would ever like to be a guest on our show, by all means, tell him about us. We'd be glad. We'd be grateful to have him. We don't mind talking to people. I don't think we've ever had Rob. Maybe I'm getting old. I don't know. You're still young and whatnot, but I don't know if we've ever had a guest who's. Oh, no. We had the Diamond Sheik. No, well, no, but he was a fan before. I don't think we've ever had a guest who was on this flagship show, and then we had their brother or sister or family member who was actually on the fan side. But it'd be interesting. So if he's interested, you know, tell him Ringside side. I'd like to hear from him.
I'm not sure if he'd be interested or not. He's more the insider, keep to himself type of person. But I do think, like, he'd probably be interested in it if I asked him to do it on behalf of me, because it's just to help everybody else out. He's
Yeah,
like me. He's willing to put forth the effort for the gang.
yeah. We all. The thing with us is it's more about just like hearing people's stories and because it's always interesting to hear like stuff from the fan side and or even those related to wrestling. Like we had um on another segment we had, it was called Larry's and Legacies, where we had Sergeant Slaughter's daughter, Kelly Slaughter, and the Big Boss Man's daughter, and also Bad News Brown's daughter, and just hearing stories from them. It was like, wow, we didn't know that all that happened. That's crazy. So it's if he's interested, that's all. I mean, I know some people are not up for it, but if he is, he's more than welcome.
Life's about
So,
perspective, man.
oh yeah. So growing up, man, who were some of your favorites you enjoyed watching that you couldn't that when you saw them on TV, you didn't want to hear nothing from anybody, you didn't want to know nothing that was going on other than what was going on that TV screen when that person who was your favorite was wrestling?
I think hands down, I think most people can agree. Just something about the way Shawn Michaels would move in a ring. It's captivating. Like, he was just effortlessly doing the motions, but at the same time, it's like he found a new way to develop the stories and make new magic happen every time. Like, I loved watching Shawn Michaels, but I was also in that era of, like, John Cena and Randy Orton. It wasn't all about doing flashy moves. It was more about, like, the situations you're being put in, your back being against the wall. What do you do under pressure? Situational awareness, like having different versions of different people become embraced. You know, Personality is a real strong thing, and I think that it really shines throughout, like, Randy Orton and John Cena. It's like, they might not be oh, I'm over here doing kick flips and whatever, but they definitely are presenting to you two developed people and why they're going to head, and I think that's important as much as the next move or the next scenario or whatever we're doing next in the ring.
Yeah, I tell you, John Cena and Randy Orton, man, they I always say this, they are this generation's Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair.
Yeah,
You know, the way when you look at, some people may think, oh yeah, but John Cena's greatest rival was Edge. Randy Orton's maybe Triple H, but I always thought that those two were like equivalent to that feud that Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat had.
I
And
agree.
it's kind of like when I say it, it's kind of like watching. I guess you could say Superman versus Batman in a sense. That being
Right.
that Batman's the darker character, and Superman's like, oh, I'm here. I'm a small town guy, down to earth, and everything's good. But and I'm ready to face the evil doers. Whereas Randy Orton's like, he's from a dark side. You know, he's from the real world. Like, not everything is good, and you know, he's ready to deal out vengeance in his own anti-heroic, I guess you could say borderline Deadpool way, although Deadpool's from Marvel. But that's how I see it. You know, and Shawn Michaels, I mean, you couldn't help but watch his matches because I mean, the guy he was just that good. You know, I always say there's no such thing as a bad Shawn Michaels match. The man has always, given 110% actually in all that he does. So yeah, it was definitely great to have been around when he was, when he was doing his solo thing as well. So, did you ever get to meet any of those guys in person, like growing up, or just seen them on TV?
I did. I didn't like obviously like meet them in person or anything like that. I have, I've had my little 15 seconds of having Rey Mysterio put his head to my head because I was wearing a mask, or John Cena, slapping my hand as he's going back to the back. Jeff Hardy, same thing coming out to the ring. He'd hit my hand, but I didn't go to very many wrestling shows. I only went to probably like a couple, like 3 or 4 when I was younger, just because they were local and a friend of mine had gotten tickets and they knew how big of a fan I was, so they wanted to take me. It was that sort of situation. I started getting into like indie wrestling shows like maybe a year or two before I started wrestling. My brother actually took me for a Christmas present, and we went to Creator Pro, and then that's when like seeing like
Ooh.
yeah, that's when like seeing things live really like hit me. I was like, wow, this is a different feeling. Because as a kid, like you're just like hyped to see the next person come out, or you're like, oh my god, there they are. The people that I see on TV are right there. But no, I didn't. I never really got to meet anyone personally. My dad has some cool stories. My dad wasn't as big of a huge fan like me or my brother are, but my dad has a couple of stories of meeting like Stone Cold or Hulk Hogan in a couple of different parking lots, just because they were in the same sort of area as him. Um, and my dad gets mistaken for Mick Foley a lot, or he did when he was younger.
Wow, that must be that must be something. But that's awesome that you got to like that your brother took you to the indie shows, and wow, Creator Pro, well, that's big time, man. You know, Pat Buck and one of my favorite wrestlers, Kevin Matthews. They're trainers over there. Never been to a show of theirs before, but before there was Creator Pro, there was a promotion called PWS, Pro Wrestling Syndicate, where I saw those guys there, and man, a lot of people have actually trained there and moved on to great things. Not a lot, but a couple of them. Like Anthony Bowens, he trained there, and now he's on AEW.
MJF, he was at Creator Pro.
Yeah, and I'm trying. I think I may be missing somebody else, but well, Kevin Matthews, of course. Kevin Matthews, he was a trainer there. Now he works for AEW. Last time I checked, so definitely a great promotion. So now that you're a fan, you're going to the shows, you're cheering your favorites, and supporting indie wrestling in the best way you can. How did your journey go? You took a big step that not a lot of fans could take. That's not easy for a lot of fans, even though a lot of them could see themselves, going into the ring, doing a clothesline, doing a moonsault, doing, you know, a hip toss and whatnot. It's easier said than done. But you took that step and you, I like to say, crossed over the guard line respectfully, and you became a pro wrestler. How did that journey go for you? How did the journey go? How did you end up finding out about the 1CW dojo, training there, and going on to become Jacob Favorite, Delmarva Sports Network champion?
I think it was very gradual. If to me, it probably didn't seem that gradual at the time. Like I probably like I in the moment, I probably felt like a lot of things happened really fast. But I do think it was a very gradual, slow process. Um, I had my son. My son's 5. I had my son in 2020. Uh,
Congratulations. I mean, it's been 5 years, but still,
yeah, no, yeah,
congratulations.
yeah, I appreciate it. So yeah, I had him in 2020, and for 4 years, I did regular dad stuff. You take your son to eat, and he's a baby, and he barely eats whatever you planned for him to eat, so you end up stuffing your face with it. And I started getting thicker, and I started putting on dad weight, and I had body dysmorphia, which I'm sure tons of people do. I look at myself in the mirror, and I'm not cool with it. So I was like, okay, well, I've never really taken the gym seriously. When I was in high school, lifting was part of those drills that you had to do it for football to get by. I did everything I needed to do, but in high school they don't teach you what you're why you're lifting. They just want you to get the cycle done. They want everybody to understand this is what we're doing. We got to keep it moving because we got a team thing. But when you're lifting, and you lift for the individual muscles, and you're lifting to provide yourself the growth in those specific muscles that you're trying to work. It takes time for that stuff to happen, and you got to gradually work with it. So eventually, after losing about like 80 pounds, I was like, wow, I'm really in shape and I look good, and people are telling me I look like I'm chiseled out of stone, and I mean, I still feel small or whatever, but it's stuff that I've never heard before. Well, my head's blowing up, and I'm sitting here listening to Judas in the gym. Chris Jericho's jamming out to me, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, maybe I should try. Maybe I should just give it a shot. Like, what are you gonna get if you don't look at it besides regret? And I'm not one to regret, so I gotta do that. I started looking into it. I was like, I'm in shape. What can I start to do to get there? And it was more or less the same problem I've always had. It's just, where am I gonna go? That's gonna, how do I fit in? Where do I get in? How do I even get to start to fake it to make it? You know what I mean? Like, I needed some sort of doorway to be opened, and thankfully it eventually did. I don't remember what I was doing up until this point, but I know I had looked at like going to Monster Factory and paying thousands of dollars to try to train. I don't I'm sorry, I can't do that. I have a 4 or 5 year old at the time, and I just know that's not happening. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, what can I do? I'm outside of a Walgreens in Delmar, Delaware, and they're randomly closed. I don't know why. It's like a 4 o'clock on a Wednesday, and I was waiting for it to like open back up. I guess there had been some sort of incident. They were planning on opening back up, and out comes Mark Briscoe, or well, Mark Briscoe's walking down the aisle, the thing, and I'm like, that looks like Mark Briscoe. And I stepped out of my car. I said, hey, excuse me. And we're across the parking lot. He looks over at me. I was like, do I know you? And he's like, yeah, probably. And I'm like, I don't really know what that means. So I walk up to him, and I'm like, excuse me, I'm not trying to like bother you or anything. He's like, oh no, it's cool. I was like, you just look like a wrestler. He's like, I am a wrestler. I was like, well, that's cool, because he's like, yeah, I'm Mark Briscoe. I was like, holy crap. I became starstruck like right in an instant. And on top of that, I'm sitting here wearing his brother's shirt. God rest his soul. Um, I'm sitting here wearing his shirt that I have. I'm looking like I just came from the gym in a cut off shirt just like this with his brother on it. And I'm sitting here. I'm like, hey, dude, like, what can I do? Where can I go? He's like, at the time he had knee surgery. He's like, man, me and him live in the same city. Like, he's like, I'd love to train you myself. But at the moment, he's like he's having knee surgery done, and he wasn't sure when what his timetable was to get back in the ring. So he pointed me in the direction of 1CW. He's like, I would just go here. If you can get in here, I think they'll get you by for a while. And then, whenever I'm in the area, I'll let you know. So I went on and I called 1CW later that day, and literally, like, I didn't even have to wait. I called, I spoke to Ranch Hand, and Ranch Hand put me on. He said, show up and we'll see what we can do with you. And kind of took off from there. I started out as not knowing where the hell I was going. I it was like, wow, I have natural God given talent. Thank God for it. I have the ability to jump around and be athletic and look all crazy and stuff on my own, but I also have discipline, which I go through the gym every day. I think the mental strain, the discipline that I go through in the gym allowed me to understand that no matter what I think I can do, I have to be able to control what I do. And when I figure out how to control what I do, then I can put it into something. And that's kind of how the beginning came along. Jake Blake with me figuring out how to control myself because, like, yeah, like I said, I was athletic, but it doesn't. Your athleticism means nothing if you look like a wet noodle flopping around. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna take you or believe you for anything. Um, I think Jake Blake was just me getting my feet wet, basically like just jumping in the pond, feeling how it is. And I got dropped on my head at some point by a weasel, a little weasel. I got dropped on my head, and I figured I'd take a step back, chill out a little bit, bring out my Bayside swag, let the inner surfer in me that never got to touch a surfboard in the water for real. Yeah, I let him shine, and I let him put on a show, and eventually it led back to that little weasel coming back and dropping me on my head again. Well, dropping a man on his head a couple of times remorselessly. I don't know if that's how you say that word. I could be wrong. Remorse without mercy. That's the point. He's over here dropping a man on his head, willing to do whatever, and he's getting cheered for it. No, 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 no. I don't call that, and that's not what God died on the cross for. That's not or Jesus died on the cross for. It's not what God intended. God intended for your favor to be given to you, and that's what happens when you drop a man on his head too many times. God finds a way to knock on your door and give you a reality check.
There you go. Awesome. So I gotta ask you, man. What is in all your time that you've been wrestling, you know, from the time you've entered 1CW dojo to graduating to having your matches to now being the DSN champion. What is the most profound thing you've learned in your wrestling career? You've learned in your wrestling career so far, outside of you
I
being jacked on your head and God knocking on your door.
I wanna say that, like, it's not. I don't want to say it's something that I learned particularly, but more something that, like, grew more in my mind. It was something I felt like I had already known, but it was more something that, like, once it was put into words, it's like, oh, that's the true meaning of where we're going with this, or what the purpose of all this is. It's a moment maker. This whole industry is just here for moments, and I think if anything anyone can possibly tell you that they remember from anything in their lives, it's dramatic, very, very important moments in their lives. And if you're creating those sort of moments in a show, odds are they go home with that and they remember it. And that could be something he goes that old man goes to the grave with, and it's his final thought. You never know. I've always said that I got into doing this for two reasons. Um, my son, him being so young, I didn't believe I could do something like this when I was his age, but I want him to be able to know from a young age that it's about how much you believe you can do it that will drive you to be able to do it. And I think that was the main thing. and I also live by the motto that if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And I tell you what, I might be in pain sometimes. My elbow kind of hurts today from something I did last night in training, but that little minor pain is just like the minor pain I go through at the gym. It's minor pain for a major gain, and you're working towards that dream. If you can fulfill that dream, then your life is you did everything you possibly could, and you're not going to be here going to the grave being like, oh, the only thing I have going for me is this last wrestling show I just watched. It was, oh, look at the great life I lived. And I think that's the most important thing. It's going through your life and knowing that you did what you wanted to do, what you needed to do to show others that they can do what they want to do. It feeds the whole team. Like I said, everything for the gang.
Awesome. So now you're the Delmarva Sports Network champion. What is going through your mind to being that now that you are the guy that's not only representing the Delmarva area, that's three states: Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. I guess if you also want to include Washington D.C., which is its own entity, you're not only the guy that's representing them, but you're pretty much the best of the best of the Delmarva area, and also the guy to beat to become the best of the best, the guy that people are going to try to beat to become the best of the best. What is your mindset right now, in regards to having that title on you?
I don't want to put it like this thing doesn't matter, because it obviously matters in the grand scale of things, but this just means that I just need to keep going. Having this title just means that yes, I may have stepped up, but there's more rungs on this ladder. I'm going to have to keep pushing if I can. You don't stay at the top without being the best. You have to be the best consistently to stay at the top. Otherwise, you start falling back down that ladder. Um, it just means it's go time, basically. Like I'm always go mode. Like even when I'm feeling lazy, it's got to be go time. You still got to get your shit done. You still got to be the man. And whether you really are the man or not, you got to believe your stuff don't stink, man. You gotta be on your own side. You got to be your biggest fan. And I think that's something I'm really good at. Like, I'm humble. I don't go around like flaunting my stuff or nothing like that, even though I should sometimes. But anyway, I do personally like to tell others that they have to feel the same way I do, if they even want to consider living their dreams, doing what they want to do, being the best person they want to be. They have to see themselves doing it before they can do it.
Awesome, awesome. So I got it. So first off, thank you for that. For those of you that just heard that, you got a little bit of advice from the DSN champion, pretty much the best of the best of the Delmarva area. And like I said, you just got that from him courtesy of Ringside Site. So remember that you got it from the best of the best. That's what we do here. So um with that being said, I just got two more questions. I know Rob is chopping at the bit right now. He wants to ask his fellow Delmarvian, if that's a word, um, some questions as well. So I just got two more. So you're the DSN champion now, but I know if I'm correct, the Dub Marvel Sports Network, they're gonna wanna maybe get some tag team titles there eventually, like everybody else does. So I gotta ask you, man, if they were to activate the DSN Tag Team Championships, right? Who would be your tag team partner to go after those tag team titles?
Do you know who I am? I already have a tag team partner. He, it's the reason I have this. I,
Oh,
I don't
cool.
need I don't need a physical presence. I don't need somebody by my side for that. But I'll answer your question respectfully. I'm not gonna disregard your such awesome question, and I really do appreciate it. I just had to throw that at you. Now, my personal opinion, I already have said something to someone else who is in the same mindset as me. There's another champion in 1CW that me and his ideals are in alignment, and that's the man monster Tiberius Asante, because we
Ooh.
are the hands of God. Now, I don't know when the hands of God come down upon thee, but I do know that we have had conversations about it before.
Oh wow. Okay. Wow, that's a great tag team partner. We've had him on here before. Great guy. Um, Hey, I'll tell you what, we're looking forward to seeing y'all, kick some tail for those tag team championships. And when you do, best believe we'll be having the hands of God back on our. If you guys aren't too busy, we'll be more than happy to have y'all back on here with the gold, all shiny and whatnot. Definitely looking forward to that. But one more question before I turn it over to Rob. So when you're working on it, Jim, you mentioned that Judas by Fozzy is one of the songs that you listen to in when you're working out, getting those reps done, getting that cardio in. But what are some other songs on Jake Favor's playlist that he listens to whenever he's in the gym getting his workouts done, or when he's getting ready to face his next opponent? What are the songs that put you in that zone?
I'm a rugged music man. I can literally dive into anything, and it's just that flavor of the month type of thing with me most of the time. But my workout playlist generally, I can cycle through and replay the same songs. Yes, I have, as I'm sure multiple wrestlers do, have multiple wrestling songs. I even like some of the female ones, like "Watch Me Shine" by Bianca Belair, or the Bianca Belair song. I love that song. Um, Big E's old theme from NXT, "Three Ain't Enough Man 95." I like that song because it even kind of feels like it's about weightlifting. Solo Sokoa's "Taking It All." That's a really good one. But I also like really classic rap stuff like G Unit, Young Buck, Stomp, Ludacris. Yeah, I get into rugged areas when it comes to my gym workouts.
Wow, that's a good list. I thought I was the only one that's guilty of working out to wrestler themes because I remember when I used to go to the gym religiously like several years ago. One of my Some of my playlists, some songs on my playlist were God's "Ain't Nobody." I don't know if that's the correct title for that song, but this was before way before they signed to WWE. They had a song called "Ain't Nobody," and I was like, yeah, this song's a banger. This is gonna be added to my playlist. And then you had a tag team, Roppongi 3K from New
Yeah,
Japan Pro Wrestling. That song they had a Rock You Romero. I was like, yo, this is a banger, and they're my favorite tag team. I'm like, you know what? On the
tag it.
playlist.
Yeah,
At one point it was, although he's a lot of people have their opinions about him, a Real American by Hulk Hogan. For some reason,
it's a good
that
song,
got
man.
me that got me in my zone, and I was like,
That wasn't even
yeah,
originally his song, so I mean, in all fairness, it is what it is.
yeah. For those of y'all listening, if you don't like Hulk Hogan, and you feel guilty about working out, and you don't like Real American anymore, you can still like it. But fun fact, it was actually the U.S. Express's song first.
That's right.
Barry, U.S. Express being the team of Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda, better known as IRS Erwin R. Shyster, the uncle and father, respectively, of Bo Dallas and the late great Bray Wyatt. That was their song. So you could still listen to Real American because initially it wasn't Hulk Hogan's song. So don't feel bad if you still have it as your playlist. Just remember that.
That's
But
great wrestling knowledge.
yeah, I still couldn't believe, like, wow, I thought Real American was Hulk Hogan's, but I knew that I read about it since I was 12. But yeah, I always say, whatever gets you going. I mean, I remember at one point I was in the gym and I was in control of the aux, and I had my playlist on, but I forgot to take out my earplugs because it's kind of a habit I have. And I was the first one, I think the first or the second person in the gym, or I don't know. People started coming in and they were like, because my playlist is so diverse. Like one minute you'll hear like probably Wu-Tang Clan, and then you'll hear Carly Rae Jepsen, or you might hear some other techno song or whatnot. And people are like, who's in charge of the aux? Who? And this time they're asking everybody, but they didn't ask me because I guess they saw that I had my earphones on. and I'm just pedaling. So I'm just smiling in my own mind. I'm like, oh man, I got. Don't let me say nothing. So
Hey
yeah,
man, Randy Orton listens to Glorilla, Sexy Red while he works out, man. I don't think anybody should be ashamed of what they work out to.
yeah. Unless it's like really like offensive to somebody's like ethnicity or something, or like religion or something. Yeah, I work out what you got. Um, but yeah, but with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Rob. Kind of Rob has a bunch of questions. Rob, like John Cena, your time is now. Take it away.
Word up. All right, thanks, man. So what's going on, man? How you doing today? How was your Friday?
Man, it was a longer one, a longer day than normal, but it wasn't too bad. My job's not too hard, so I can't complain.
Well, that's good, man. So it wasn't too crazy of a Friday, man. Pretty good to go. That's good. So, man, are you ready? Tomorrow, man, they got the Comic Con up in Dover, man. Are you checking that out? Are you heading up there? Or you got work or anything? Or
Man, I gotta work, like I said, I started a new job, but I still gotta squeak some extra days in other places, doing side jobs and stuff like that, trying to make
yeah,
sure make sure I keep my finances up. I got lots of
yeah.
expenses.
I feel you. I
Gotta
feel. I know
gotta
the
get
feeling,
extra
man.
polish.
I got you, man. I know the feeling, man. I feel you. So I gotta ask, traveling, working, going to the 1CW dojo, man, training there. Not a lot of people didn't don't know you rest before you wrestled and stuff, man. So tell us about that. Did how was refing? How did you feel about refing? Matches and stuff, and did it like prepare you for like getting in front of the crowd so when you are wrestling, so like you're like okay, I got a feeling for what the crowds do and all this stuff.
Man, I gotta give it to the dojo for making us go through that. And I'm sure it's definitely not the first time somebody, some company's done that with their newbies, but
Yeah.
it's one of those things that like I don't really know if there's anything I can really compare it to off the top of my head, but it puts you in the situation without you really being like the centerpiece.
Mhm.
Like the gears and all, they all shift because of you, but you're not really like nobody's like watching you like you're the problem or whatever. Now, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, the referee is the make or the break of this entire situation. The hands down, nobody's gonna believe this shit if the ref can't fucking make it look good. So the
That's
ref
right.
the ref is one of the most important, if not the most important person in front of the camera. But I gotta say, being in that situation without having to put yourself in the boots of a wrestler, it's a different experience, and it's definitely something that I think is needed if you've never been in that sort of situation or circumstance before. Which like playing sports in front of a crowd is one thing. Like eyes are on you, and
Mhm.
it's a different type of feeling, but I don't know, something about being on camera. That's something different. Doing the whole being a whole action stuntman and only being able to do one take of it
Yeah.
is hard, man. But you being able to watch it and still be in the shot is like being a side gig on a movie. It's the easiest job in the world. But like the side people, if they don't look believable, then
Mhm.
how are you supposed to believe what's going on? And I think it works the same way. It's captivating, but at the same time, it's something you definitely need if you're ever going to be successful in this business. You need it from the jump. It's something. It's a building block.
That's right. Yeah, because I remember when I first started training stuff. I remember Hardy and Carlson telling me like, man, they train people and stuff, got them all ready. Come showtime, when it's come to go across that curtain, and then seeing all the people out there, they're like, I can't do this. Oh man, I can't do it. It's like, what? Are you? Oh man, it's like, oh man, I was like, whoo. I was like, no, don't worry, because they're ass. I was like, I got you, I got this. You're good. Like my first time when I ring announced, I think I ring announced for the first episode on Delmarva on the DSN, and I remember when I was walking out in the curtain, Hardy come up to me and was like, "So did you get a script?" I was like, "Script? I ain't getting no script." He was like, "Okay, don't worry about it." Then I was like, "What?" And they're like 10, 9. He's like, "All right, so I'm like, what?" He's trying to tell me all this stuff. He's like, "Go out there, da da da." right when I hit that curtain, I forgot everything he told me. And
Yeah.
I was just like, oh man. So I'll just make it up as I go along. So I was just
Some
like
hey,
saying something,
fake it till
Yeah.
you make it, man. Sometimes that's what you got to do.
Yeah, the fans, they had no clue, any of that. They're just over there like, yeah, we ready to hype once you dub, you know what I mean? So I was like, word up, hell yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, man. So how about those one CW fans, man? They are awesome, man. Because like when I would ref and stuff, they would always get on me. I swear I thought they hated me and stuff. They always bag on me, man. So how do you how about those fans, man? When they love you, man. They love to cheer their favorites. They love to boo their the ones that they have to. You know what I mean?
I think, and I'm not just saying this because of the whole God thing. I think we really are blessed at 1CW because our fans care. I hate to say it. I go to different. There are other companies that I travel to, and yes, their fans buy tickets. Yes, their fans come to their shows. But if you're not being a part of the show, you're not trying to envelop yourself in the show. The show still feels like it just feels like a show. You just feel like you went and saw something. You paid something. You saw something. Yeah, it was great.
Hmm.
But at 1CW, I tell people if I say even when I'm promoting myself, I'm like, hey, even if you don't like wrestling, this is one of those situations where it's like a hockey game. Like when you're in that environment, it's like a light bulb. Like everybody's in that environment, not just you. We're all this whole circle, this whole dome, this sphere of people is all of us. Like we're all in on this. Like
Hmm.
and this is it's like when you go to a movie theater, everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's
Yeah.
appreciating the same thing. Everybody's there for the same thing. And if everybody's on the same page about it, like you jump at all the same time for a big jump scare. You all laugh at the same time. It's a different feeling when it's all happening at once. You're like, wow, everybody else thought it was funny just like me. When you're involved, even when you're not really in the know of these people or you don't really feel like you fit in, when you're involved and you don't feel like you fit in, it's something you can't get anywhere else. I feel like I keep repeating myself with that sort of statement, but wrestling is just something that does that to you. You don't have to be a wrestling fan to enjoy a wrestling show.
Yeah.
You can be there and feel the energy, and the energy alone will provide what you came to that show for. Even if you didn't see any great moves, or maybe you only remembered one thing from the match, that one thing is probably really good, just because everybody
Hmm.
thought it was good.
That's
Dad,
right. That's right.
what?
Now you were mentioning, working for other companies and stuff, man. So like, where's the farthest you've gotten to travel so far in your wrestling, man? How far, north, south, east, or west, have you gotten so far?
I've gotten to go into Virginia and West Virginia, going south, and then Um, I didn't wrestle in Philly. I went to see NWA in Philly, so I kind of traveled
Uh,
to see Carlson and Ty.
yeah.
Um, but I go to New Jersey pretty frequently. North Jersey, I think, is probably the most north that I've been that I can remember. Yeah, unfortunately I haven't been too north or too south, but I have recently had conversations about maybe trying to like get with somebody who does make constant travels to Florida. Maybe
Hmm.
start putting my name out down there. I know a lot of Florida. Like I've been to Florida probably more times than I can count on both of my hands twice. But it's it's like that another home for me. Like I enter that state and it's like, yep, here we go. I already know where I'm
Yeah.
going.
Hmm. That's right. That's right. Yeah, man. Yeah, hey, if you're ever down there, Florida and Texas, man, like we have a lot of promoters and stuff come on there from those states. Of like, you're like, hey, if I'm going to be over here in like this city or whatever, anybody, man, I'll be like, hey, man, here's the name. What I mean, hit them up. Then maybe they're running the show that weekend if you're out there. Whatever
Oh,
fans.
okay.
There you go. Ain't no big deal. I know how it is, man. Yeah, we have a lot of them come on there, so it's like, yeah, I'll throw a name out.
All right, cool.
Yeah, man, ain't no big deal. So, when is your next show, man? Do you have anything coming up, man? Is the next one next weekend? Is that your next thing coming up?
Next, yeah, the 21st would be the next show. I kind of wanted to get something booked this weekend, but I just needed to take the guaranteed money instead of trying to put my name out there. I felt like this is probably a good week to try to just sit this one out and just work a normal whatever I need to do and get some quick cash in my pocket. But it I think the next couple of months are going to be very fruitful in terms of like my career, because it's going to be like weekend after weekend after weekend is going to really give me the experience that I need of like how often this thing is going to kick off, or what it's going to eventually start to broaden out to being on a regular basis, which is good. It's good experience that I need.
Mhm. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. I know 1CW. We're doing like stuff pretty much almost every weekend and stuff. But one thing I'm really excited for is that going up there to the Blue Rock Stadium. I kind of want to, I'm excited for that one, man. And I'm going to go up there and I'm going to ask like, hey, can I hang out in the dugout, during the game or whatever for like an inning or two? I mean, I'll throw a rally cap on or something. I'm trying to do that. But yeah, that's going to be fun, man. I can't wait for that minor league game.
Yeah, it's going to be a real good time. It's going to be a lot of eyes, a lot of fresh eyes on the
Hmm.
company. And I love fans who aren't particularly wrestling fans. Like, don't get me wrong, I love my wrestling fans because they will get into it when they're supposed to, and they know their cues and stuff like that, which is cool. But when you're showing somebody who doesn't know what the hell's going on, and their mind expands because a whole nother level just opened up to them,
Hmm.
that seeing that happen is a cool feeling when you're the one that gave that to them. You know what I mean? You handed
Yeah.
that experience to them.
That's right. Yeah, man. Yeah, because you've been there like when we done shows in Felton for the end of the summer thing and all. Like we'll be wrestling. Starting out match one. There's probably like handful of people watching or whatever. But the last match or whatever, like everybody's around there cheering like ah. What I mean? It's like wow. What I mean? Like yeah.
Definitely.
That's right. That's right, man. So, traveling around, Jersey, especially West Virginia, man, they got those mountains and crazy, woods and stuff, man. Yeah, are there any funny travel stories that have happened? Like, have you come across like seen a Sasquatch or, something wild like that, man? Because I'm always trying to, catch these, stories, man. I always see people, seeing Sasquatch, UFOs and all, and I figure, hey, man, the best people that would know, wrestlers, they travel around the country all the time, so maybe they seen something, man. So have you gotten anything like that in your yet?
I don't think I have anything like particularly with like traveling with anybody or anything like that. But
Mm,
there was a show. I was coming home from a show. It was later at night. It was probably like 12 midnight, somewhere around there. And I'm pretty close to my house. I'm on a back
mhm,
road, and I'm driving, and all of a sudden there's this big white majestic horse in front of me, and
wow.
I'm doing probably like 45, 50 miles an hour on this back road, and it's a turn that I'm coming around,
Mhm.
and he's just planted right in front of me, and I almost died to a unicorn. I tell you, like,
Mm.
I don't know where this white majestic horse came from. I looked around. I said, I don't even know who around here would own this horse, but he galloped out of my way real quick, and I went about my night. It was something I had never seen before, but I swear I almost killed a unicorn, or I almost died to one.
Yeah, it's probably Wyatt or something. Wyatt's always trying to mess with people like that, man, letting his horses loose or something, man. How that guy is, man. Wyatt and his crazy stuff. Oh Lord.
Yeah.
So I do want to ask, when you're out, you're not wrestling at the gym or whatever, man. What are there any new movies and TV shows you're into? Because I always get caught watching the same things over and over again, like comfort shows, like Always Sunny, uh, you know, uh,
Yeah, yeah.
What We Do in the Shadows, stuff like that. So, is there anything new you're watching? Like Tiberius and I, we went and seen the Bloodlines, the Final Destination. Man, that was pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly what I was about to say. That movie was very good. Me and my baby mother, she definitely loves Final Destination. I love Final Destination. It's one of
Yeah,
those movies that they tell you they're gonna make a final one, and then they just can't help but make more because the
yeah.
storylines are just too good. And that's one of the, it's like wrestling. Like, you can never be done with wrestling. There's too many storylines, too many
Mm-mm.
things you can change, too many different
Mhm,
ways to go about it.
mhm.
I thought that movie was very good. Um, I have been watching this show on, I think it's on Peacock. trying to remember what it's called. It's about. I'll tell you what it's about. It's about this pregnant woman and her fiance or husband. I don't know if they're married in the show. But they're having a kid, and then their plumber, they find out, is a serial killer.
Oh wow.
And instead of reporting him, she's the pregnant woman is really, really, really into serial killer podcasts.
Mm.
So her and her husband work together to convince the serial killer that they know about him and they know about his plans and all that stuff, and that if he's willing to work with them and do a podcast about him being the serial killer. And that's what the whole show's about. It's about them making a podcast about the serial killer that they know who is the serial killer.
Oh wow.
And he's on the
I think
show. And go ahead.
yeah, I think I've seen I think I've seen previews for that on Peacock or whatever. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. That. Oh man. Okay.
I need to figure out what it's called, man. That show, it's really good. It's got the girl from Big Bang Theory in it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I know what you're talking about, man. Yeah. I'll have to check that out, man. 'Cause, yeah, I'm always trying to find something new, man. Trying to check something out, man. All that good stuff. But yeah, man. Before I pass on back to Remy and stuff, I do want to say, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, come on chat with us, about your wrestling and all that good stuff, man. I wish you nothing but the best in all your future endeavors. Man, I hope you get to keep that championship on you, for as long as you need to until it's time for you to move on up, and then there you are. You're gonna be double champ, 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 and then triple champ, 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 champ. Hey, I'm all for it, man. No, I mean I'm proud of all your seeing you grow, man. I remember you from starting out training to where you are now. I'm proud to see where you come, man. I want to see what you go to, man. I got nothing but the highest of expectations for you, man.
Thank you. I
And
really
also,
appreciate it.
man, when you hit the hay tonight, I hope both sides of your pillow are cool. And on your way to work tomorrow, you find like $20 on the road, man.
Man,
All that
Rob,
good
every
stuff.
time I talk to you, you just make me. I'm like, this is exactly why I like you, dude. You just prove it to me every time.
I try.
I was sitting there looking at the camera with the DSN title in my hand, saying, "I'm the face of DSN." I'm like, look at Rob over there booing me. That's hilarious.
That's why he's a tranquil dot of Ringside Society. Every time we get guests on it, for some reason, when they talk to Rob, and it's not just me because they talk to Kathy, our other co-host, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. But for some reason, when they talk to this guy, they start chilling. That's why he's a tranquil dart, man. I mean, he's definitely earned that nickname. But yes, like Rob said, man, all that great stuff we wish upon you. We wish you nothing but the best, with your career. And like I said, once when we see you in WB or AEW or TNA, best believe we will be cheering you on, man, because we're like, wow, like one of our alumni guests actually, is doing big things now. And it's happened before. We've had Roxanne Perez and Ren Sinclair and people like Jake Cartwheel, who are actually now signed to WWE. Roxanne being on the main roster, Ren Sinclair being in NXT, and Jake Cartwheel, who, for those of you if you don't know who that is, definitely check him out. He's a hell of a talent who's
Right.
actually killing it in WWE Evolve. But we've had those people on our show, and look at them now. They're doing it big like nobody's business, and we're very happy for them. Because why? We love to see people like yourself, even like Rob, because Rob is a referee too as well. He's in the business. We like to see people work hard and get rewarded for it. It's something great, regardless of whether they've been on our show or not. We just like to see it. So we wish that we wish all the great things for you in your life, in your career, and whatnot. And before we shut this show down, where can fans find you on social media when they want to find out where next appearances, purchase, Jacob Favor merchandise, and where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
Facebook, Instagram, Instagram's Age in Favor 09, all one word. And same thing with my Facebook. It's just Jacob Favor. You just look it up. I do have T-shirts. You can hit me up at this moment. Hit me up personally if you want one, and I'll get it to you. Give you prices and all that stuff. I'm getting them made right now. I have a whole bunch of them getting made, but I'll have more designs. Every time I have a new design, I'll wear it first, and then I'll start to sell it. Um, I'm trying to work on getting like magnets and stuff like that put out as well. Um, but yeah, I really appreciate you guys for having me on. It's been a blast. I really don't mind at all. I feel like I said, if anything, this helps all of us. I'll do anything to feed the gang, and that's because that's what I'm here for. Um, just to put it out there, the show that I was talking about is called Based on a True Story, just so I can relay that to you guys, or for that way we're not left on a cliffhanger for that.
Awesome. I'll probably have to check that out. I don't know. I have so many shows I got to catch up on, but I'll make sure to put that in. It's like a series, or it's like a TV series, or like a readout. There's a TV series.
Yeah, it's a TV
Yeah.
series on Peacock, and I think there's only 2 seasons, so wouldn't be long if you just binged it.
I'll have to put that in my TV shows to watch and check it out later on. I got so many stuff I got to check out. So much stuff I got to check out. But we'll thanks for definitely letting us know about that. And for those of y'all that heard, not only don't just check out Based on a True Story. Follow this man. He's incredible. Follow him on Instagram, follow him on Facebook. Cop that merch, cop that Jacob Favor merch. And if you can't make the shows that he's at, that's another way you can actually support indie wrestling, is by copying, buying the t-shirts that, or the merchandise that him and the rest of the men and women in professional wrestling have as well. And that way, whenever they make it to the great heights, whether it's WWE, AEW, TNA, heck, New Japan Pro Wrestling and all, and somebody goes, I just got the new shirt from New Japan shop or AEW shop or WWE shop, you could be like, yeah, well, I got their stuff from when they first started out in the indies. So it's definitely a great fan. It's definitely a great feeling to support somebody, in their early career. Support them regardless, but it's definitely a great feeling when you've been a fan of somebody from day one, and they're doing big things now. So go ahead, give them that follow, support. And with that being said, it's about time for us to shut this show down. My eyelids are getting kind of heavy. My stomach is rumbling. That means it's time for dinner and a nap. But before I partake in those activities, Rob Bass, the Mel Gibson to my Danny Glover, the Sean Spence to my Burton Guster, and the Charlie Haas to my Shelton Benjamin. Where can fans find you on social media when they want to talk wrestling, find out where your next appearance is, purchase Rob Bass merchandise, and where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
All right, you can find me on Facebook, your Rob Base, Instagram, Rob underscore Base 82. And then you can catch this man here, the champion, the face of Delmarva Sports Network, the champion Delmarva Sports Network. Every Saturday morning, 10 a.m., brand new episodes of 1CW. We were played all throughout the week. You can catch, and if you can catch that episode when it's happening live, just go on to DelmarvaSportsNetwork.com. You can catch all the way from episode 1 from years ago to catch up with it now, and you'll see this man right here, the face of the network, just rolling, taking names in the morning, kicking ass in the evening, doing his dang on thing. You know what I mean? So check out 1CW.
Yes, that's right. For honestly, really and truly, I can vouch for 1CW and say they are a great company. They're a great promotion. Like I said before, I once spent probably $40-$50 on a lift just to go see 1CW, and I'm not ashamed of it. It was WrestleMania week. I was like, hey, you only live once. Why not go ahead and check out 1CW as well? So I did that, and I was very impressed. It was a tri-brand show, but 1CW were definitely knocking it out of the park. So if 1CW shows up in your area, make sure you put a time aside to check them out, because they are really that damn good at what they do. I don't mean to quote the game, but it is what it is. But with that being said, if you want to follow me on social media, not that I say a lot of cool things, but I do go to a lot of cool places. As a matter of fact, today was the first stop in my Major League Baseball ballpark tour. I did a tour of Yankee Stadium, and then the next 2 weeks, I'll be doing a tour of City Field, or I think it's called City Life. I don't know, wherever the New York Mets play. I know that sounds bad considering I live in New York, but I'll be going to the home of of New York Mets next, and afterwards, I'll figure out where I want to go next. But I'm going to be visiting all 30 ballparks. So if you want to follow me on my journey, definitely check me out on Instagram and Twitter at the Remy Blue. More specifically, Instagram at the Remy Blue. Also on TikTok at the Remy Blue as well. And Blue Sky is at RemyBlue.bsky.social. I am also on Facebook as Remy Blue as well. And last but not least, our this podcast is also on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram and Blue Sky at Ringside Society. We're on Twitch at Ringside Society 2019. We're on Facebook as a Facebook group, and we're also on Spotify, and we're also on Teespring, where you can purchase official Ringside Society merchandise. We have T-shirts, we have hoodies, we also have coffee mugs. We have 3 or 4 designs that I believe we're working on more soon to come. So watch out for those. And last but not least, we have a YouTube channel where you can see cool interviews like this one, like our Money in the Bank predictions episodes, like the interviews we did with Faith Apollo of Apollo's Kitchen, and Salem Alexander, who's actually a ring announcer. You can see all those great interviews on YouTube, and to see them, it's very simple. It's not rocket science. It's not even pre-algebra. Just go on YouTube and type in Ringside Society. I want to see that really good looking dark blue and light blue yin yang sound with the blue flames around it. That's when you know it's us. So make sure you subscribe to all our videos, because we got a lot of cool stuff coming up, and you don't want to miss a thing like Aerosmith in 1990. As a matter of fact, we got 2 things to mention. Rob, you want to mention the first thing we got going on next Friday? Go ahead,
Oh
man.
yeah, man. Yeah, I'll do that. Next Friday, man, we got a very special guest coming on. He's the last time he was on this show. I think we were just on radio, but this is his
Yep.
first time back in a few years. Hobo Harry's going to be on the show 7 p.m. next Friday.
Yeah, Hobo Harry will be making his return. Great to have him back. Great to catch up on what is he still Hobo Harry? I think he won the lottery and became Rich Guy
He's
Harry.
back. Wyatt beat him up, and he's back to Hobo
Yeah.
Harry now.
Wyatt threw his
Oh.
ass back in the dumpster.
Yeah, he hit
Oh.
his head. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll be having him back on, and we'll be looking forward to hearing what he's been up to since the last time we spoke to him. So we have that going on next Friday at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 4:00 p.m. for all my people all my West Coast riders. And last but not least, we also have our summer giveaway going on. And guess what? We're giving away a copy of WWE 2K25 for Xbox Series X. We're also giving away a copy of WWE 2K25 for PlayStation 5. That's right. It's live right here. And all you got to do is answer 3 questions that we have. The first question is, who won the Money in the Bank? Who's the only wrestler to win Money in the Bank 2 consecutive times? What was the last pay-per-view of the 20th century? And the third question, my personal question, who was the first ever, the inaugural King of the Ring? So if you know the answers to those questions, definitely go ahead and DM us. And once we verify that they're correct, you'll get a great congratulations, you're in, and you'll be in the running to win a copy of one of those games. But with that being said, it's about time for us to shut this show down. Once again, it's time for us to shut this show down. We really and truly appreciate those of you that tuned in tonight. Thank you very much. We strive on being one of the best wrestling podcasts a wrestling fan could, should, and would listen to, and we're not going to stop being that. For those of you that are going to listen later on, you get a chance. Thank you very much in advance. And those of y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish you just go away. Well, like myself at Golden Corral and Rob Bass at a taco festival, we're not going anywhere for a while.
They hate us because they ain't us.
And we ain't stopping. So with that being said, we just want to let everybody know that we're very well and aware that everybody and their grandparents and their parents have a podcast. But we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. Hashtag, we are not the same. Hey, yo, Rob Bass, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for the Delmarva Sports Network champion, the leader of the age of in favor, Jacob Favor.
Woo!
What type of podcast are we?
We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast.
That's right. We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. We'll be back next Friday, maybe even sooner, with another impressive guest, another impressive episode. But until then, we just have 4 favors for y'all. Stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and enjoy wrestling. We out. Peace.
Favor
See
served.
y'all. Good night. Stay classy, Delaware. See ya.